Hello y'all, this is Kaiserredux, a Hearts of Iron 4 mod that acts as an unofficial standalone expansion for the Kaiserreich mod. Kaiserreich takes place in a world where the Central Powers won World War I. With that said, this video will act as part 1 of a Costa Rica German monarchy path playthrough. We have started. Now let's go to our national overview. In this we can see that we have 3 national spirits, and they are Monroe Doctrine, Beacon of Democracy, and UFC, Labor Conflicts. As for the ruling ideology of the country, we have social conservatism. Now let's go to our research tree. We have 2 research slots. Let's go ahead and start doing basic machine tools, 136 days. And construction 181 days. Free civilian factories, we have one free civilian factory. Let's start building something in San Jose. I reckon we have 1 division in the army. We have no navy or air force, but we have 1 division. Get this unit here then and establish an army, and we'll have Fernando Virgos Quiros lead the force there. Let's have him go set up next to Panama, just to be aware of our neighbors to our east there. Now let's go to the focus tree and start doing the focus. Say, what do we do here? What do we do? I don't know. Costa Rica in the air. No. Let's do increase military expenditure, consisting of a grand total of 300 soldiers who are closer to retirement than a battlefield. The Costa Rican army is far from prepared for any military confrontation and is in dire need of government support to maintain even the smallest of garrison. Once this focus is done, the disarmed nation conscription law will be changed to volunteer only, and that will give us slightly a little bit more recruitable population, I'm pretty sure. Now we have a background event for Costa Rica. Costa Rica, a Central American success story. Tucked away deep in the Central American jungles, our small but proud nation has flourished for many decades, enjoying literacy rates higher than some European nations and a slow but steadily growing economy based on the banana and especially coffee trade. Ensured by a strict adherence of all parties to the Constitution, there has been no military intervention or political coup in the nation since the failed dictatorship of Teoh in 1917, who was deposed mere months later under pressure from the people, refusing to endure a dictator in their republic. Ever since, the nation has been controlled by a varied, albeit egalitarian, caste of politicians who have enjoyed the fruits of the growing German economy and the close ties between our 2 nations. Under the wing of the PRN, President Ricardo Jimenez is able to look back on a successful term in which he dealt with both the economic depression caused by the American recession and the rising voices of socialist movements who, enthused by the Atlantic Workers' Congress, have finally risen up from their slumber and demanded better representation. Although they somewhat succeeded in their aims and have forced the government to draft a labor accord, the law is far from passed yet, and under the rising star Manuel Mora Valverde, trouble between companies and workers is far from over. Nevertheless, the nation flourishes as the fruits of our relations with Middle Europa are flowing in the form of cultural exchange programs, scientific assistance, and a strong bond between universities such as the KU Leuven in Flanders-Wallonia and the Costa Rican upper class. Another sunny day in Costa Rica. Alright then, so that establishes what the political situation in Costa Rica is at the start date of 1936 in Kaiserredux. So it looks like we're going to have an election in February 1936. So that's interesting. Assassination of the Russian president. Alright then, we'll just have to wait and see how the election is going to go. I am curious what kind of options we're going to have there. Increase military expenditure will take about, let me see, that would be 43 more days. I just gotta wait for it to get through. I really do. Our army is going to be watching Panama And I don't know if that's going to matter or not. Okay, what's this about? Nomination of the Republican candidate. Whilst the supremacy of the PRN is unquestionable in the upcoming elections, the party is divided on who to push forward to serve as their presidential candidate. Leon Cortez Castro has the support of the conservative coffee elite and has proven during the tenure of Jimenez to be a worthy successor to his legacy. Other members, however, have remarked that his aggressive anti-socialist stance and strict attitude could lead to further escalation amidst the socialist sphere, and as such provide a feeding bottom for Vivaldi's syndicalist party. As a compromise between the two extremes, the church, persuaded by the encyclical Rerum Novarum, has pushed forward Rafael Angel Calderon Gardia. His political career is not very noteworthy, and most people only know him as the doctor due to his medical profession, with both sides hoping to use him as a sock puppet whilst ruling in his stead. Support for his candidacy is increasing by the day. So let's choose to go with him. Is he a social democrat? Okay, let's go with this doctor and see what happens there. The totalist charter is a thing, and I'm curious who will be the candidates for the election besides the doctor. Edward VIII is crowned King of Great Britain. That is done. He doesn't really control Great Britain, but he's sort of there. It says here, Manuel Mora Valverde requests approval for his candidacy. As the leader of the syndicalist party, Manuel Mora Valverde is dead set on representing his party in the upcoming elections. Due to a special clause in the Constitution, however, forbidding anyone to participate under the age of 30, his bid would automatically be cancelled. Holding a fiery rhetoric in Congress in support of lowering the age requirement, the young but charismatic politician has attempted to persuade the sitting government to reconsider this clause and to allow him and his party to run for office. Let's say the Constitution is sacred. We don't want him to win, probably. I think he's a syndicalist. He is a syndicalist leader, so that would have benefited him if we allowed him to run. We want the social... What we want to happen is we need, I believe we're going to try and get social democrats in charge of Costa Rica. That is the game plan right now. Increased military expenditure will be done soon. What does it say here? The 1936 elections. Surprising no one, the PRN has once again secured a dominant position in the elections and has delivered our next president. Whilst it seems that the worst is behind us, we should not automatically assume that our new president will have an easy time in office, as the corporatist vultures and socialist agitators will make his term difficult as is. Viva Calderon. So that is that, I think. Yes. Is that okay? I don't know how that worked out. Wait, I don't know. Is he social democrat or no? Is he a social democrat? No, he's social conservative. I'm confused. Whatever. But he's in charge now. And Calderon announces his ambitions. Okay, this is a big deal. This is definitely big. Calderon announces his ambitions. As is tradition, the new president was asked to give a speech during his ceremony, laying out his plans for the future of our nation. What people, however, didn't expect the radical turn of policy Calderon announced. Calderon proposes sweeping social reforms, promising to found a national university, develop a social security program, provide low-cost housing, provide more rural credit, enact land reform, and assist less developed regions of the country. All these announcements have completely stunned the members of the PRN, who saw in Calderon nothing but a sock puppet for their conservative policy. He can't do this. I guess he just did. So socialist victory right there. The Social Democrats are now in charge, effectively. So Calderon, in a way, showed his true intentions. Increased military expenditure will be done soon. Our goal now is to increase the influence of the Central America's coffee company. Combat social security. Do that, please. That will give us something to give our influence. We need more influence. So it says here in this decision tab, our nation is almost fully controlled by a select elite of coffee barons. Due to the American Depression and the subsequent shockwaves, many of these barons with German roots have bound together and have created the Central American Coffee Company, or the CKG. Their power is large, but could also be used to our advantage should we play our cards right. So let's go with German Cultural Exchange Program, do that. It says here, strong ties between our nation and the members of the German Spear in Europe has led to a great influx of art, literary works, and an exchange of cultural heritage. Universities all across Germany and Flanders-Wallonia are also responsible for a better part of our highly educated populace and have drastically influenced the minds of our people. So using political power to influence the CKG will rise. We're going to probably do as much as we can to help the CKG. It says here, that's not good. In the aftermath of the American Depression, disaster in the CKG. In the aftermath of the American Depression, the largest coffee barons of our nation bound together and joined forces in the German-headed CKG, or Central America's Coffee Administration or Company, buying up the UFC and other American assets left and right, boosted by the economic golden age of Germany. The CKG has come to control vast swabs of our land and economy, not only determining the domestic policy, but providing work to thousands of Costa Rican citizens. The Black Monday crash, however, has turned the tables on the CKG after stocks kept plummeting in Berlin. The company is being forced to file for bankruptcy, dragging our national economy into the dirt. Careful spending by our former president has luckily allowed our government to build a small reserve with which we will now attempt to stop the downspiraling catastrophe that has hit the CKG. This is, however, nothing but a temporary measure, and foreign partners will be required if we wish to save the company from collapse. So this will give us a national spirit, a pretty brutal one, called CKG bankruptcy. We also lose minus 80% base stability and 100 political power, which is quite brutal. Increased military expenditure just got cancelled. Dagnabbit. What do we do now? Let's complete CKG bailout. It says here, looking at that, let me see. It says, what does it say? It says, although founded by Costa Rican coffee farmers of German descent, the explosive growth of the German economy has led to the company being absorbed into a German multinational company, the CKG, as this, however, tied the company to the German stock exchange. The fallout of the Black Monday disaster has had catastrophic consequences for the company, who now edges on bankruptcy. So we have about 70 days. We got to wait for that focus, for that bailout to be done. Once it is done, we'll probably do something relating to German crisis response, perhaps. How much influence does the CKG have at this point? 9%. Very interesting there. Okay then. And we just gotta wait for that bailout to be done. And hopefully all will go well for that, because the Costa Rican economy now will have to recover, because that is a brutal bankruptcy. We lost all of our stability. It just went out the window. It was thrown out. The Germans, their whole economic crisis did that to Costa Rica effectively. And we're just gonna have to wait how many more days? 25 days, 44 days left. A democratic cabinet in national France. Interesting, I guess. Let's go check. How is the death of Pius XI? How is Nicaragua doing? They have a radical socialist government. Honduras is authoritarian democracy. El Salvador, national populist. Guatemala, authoritarian democracy. I wonder if Nicaragua will get any more, if they will get any allies at all. Because usually in Kaiserredux, a lot of countries will want to try and form the Central American Republic or state, which I'm very interested to see how that will work out in this particular playthrough. Very interested indeed to see how that all goes. We're at minus 79 political power right now. I need to do something about that. I'm just having to wait there. And Qing declared war on the Shandong clique. Alright then, military seizes power in Mexico. Should I be somewhat concerned about that? Maybe. I don't know. CKG bailout. Come on, get the bailout done, please. Poland falls to syndicalism. Fascinating. Okay, that doesn't affect us too badly, but it will mean the Reichspakt, the German Empire, well, the German Empire will have one less ally in Central and Eastern Europe, basically. And waiting for CKG bailout, almost there. A few more days. Panama pressures Koto. What's this about? The Panamanians have launched a small-scale military assault on the Koto region, which they have claimed for a long time now. If we are not careful, this could escalate to a large-scale conflict. Fortunately, thanks to the Monroe Doctrine, the USA will likely put an end to this rather quickly. Those okay. Yeah, okay. We're just going to have to watch out here at our border. Do they have a claim on this? The U.S. intervenes, and the U.S. has intervened on our behalf, and is ordering Panama to restore the status quo. They would be fools not to comply. So this will give us plus 10 political power, and some event about Panama. The USA will get some event about Panama backing down. CKG, permanent solution. We got an event now, since that bailout focus is done. It says here, upon first review, it seems that our initial measures have stopped the complete collapse of the CKG, but as our funds run dry at an alarming rate, we need to look to possible partners who can bail out the CKG and save our economy from an even worse disaster. The Americans themselves have been suffering from a crisis with no end in sight, whilst the Germans are watching with complete horror how the imperium they built up over the years slowly descends into chaos. Both, however, have powerful capitalists who have been following from the sidelines, hoping to cheaply buy the falling companies of the pre-Black Monday order. So let's choose to ask the Germans for assistance. We'll do that. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Now, in the focus tree, let's start doing... Okay, German support arrives. This is important. Let me read this. Tough negotiating with the German delegation finally paid off when an accord was reached between Rafael Garcia Calderon and the German government. Whilst we will be obligated to take further concessions to the CKG to pay off our debts, they have accepted to take part of the hit and granted us a loan with which we could survive the crisis. From this, we'll gain plus 5% base stability and complete the focus. German crisis response. Terrific. With that, I'm going to end what is part 1 of my Costa Rica German monarchy path playthrough in the Hearts of Iron 4 mod Kaiserredux here. If you enjoyed the mod, you can check it out in the video description. The link to it is there. If you enjoyed the video itself, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.